We're getting into the interview. How do you nail the interview? So we're talking about secrets to selling yourself with confidence and landing that offer, which we've already touched on a little bit, so that you can go into this interview with confidence, with ease, and take over that room, right? So
Absolutely.
this is a question for our audience. What's the weirdest and hardest interview question you've ever been asked before? Let's hear it. Put it down in the chat. I know I've been asked some crazy questions you had to take a second to think about before you actually answer. So anything that's weird or kind of hard to answer, just put it down in the chat. We want to prepare each other for these kind of random field questions that we're going to be asked. But for our expert, my question about interviewing is, how do you answer the dreaded, "So tell me about yourself," in a way that actually sells you?
Absolutely. Yes, that question is the one that makes people a little uncomfortable, you could say, especially if you've never applied for a job. But usually they will ask you this question. And in answering it, what's really important where people tend to mess up, and candidates tend to mess up, is talking about their life and sharing all these different information about their upbringing. I used to milk cows, this and that, different things that have nothing to do with the job. So when hiring managers are asking you this question, they're asking you this question, which is kind of like a trick question, but they want to know, what in your experiences, what have you experienced, what have you learned in your life about things that pertain to this role, right? So when I ask, tell me about yourself, that means tell me about your experience as it pertains to this job. And yeah, you're thinking like, why not just ask me that? But it is what it is. So you just want to make sure that you pull from your experience in your past positions and in life, that you can share with them so that they understand, oh, wow, she'll be great in this position because she has so much experience, in this role, even if it was in a whole nother job title.
So you mean they don't want to know that I played T-ball when I was 5 years old and I grew up on the south side of Chicago and lived with my grandma?
No. But you can throw that in a funny story, about yourself, but after you have answered the real question.
Right. No, that's so important, because I think a lot of people are struggling like, wait, where do I start? I mean, there's so much about myself. What do they want to know? And so that makes perfect sense. Tell them what pertains to the job. I mean, even if it was way back when, your first internship, how do those transferable skills tell them something about yourself? So
Absolutely.
That's the key. It's like, keep it relatable to the actual position. And then tell me those things, impress me a little bit, throw in some keywords while you're talking. And that's what's going to sell you.
Oh yeah, you want to be comfortable, in that situation. So since we know it's a dreaded question, practice that with someone, in your family, one of your friends. You want to be comfortable in it. Some people are not comfortable talking about themselves, and that is a mistake going into it when you essentially need to sell yourself.
Yes. So. Okay. I love it. You don't have to be a salesperson. Just get some practice. We can do this.
Practice. Yeah.
Because you are the best person to talk about you. How about that?
Yeah.
So what's the best way to respond to, why did you leave your last job, when the answer is parenting?
That, I would say, as I mentioned earlier, just being confident and owning your decision. You don't have to say so many words, just short and sweet. I left so I can, take care of my child. Now, if it's, just to have a baby, they understand, I had a baby, took some time off just to make sure that I have a good, handle on the house, and so you might need to take that extra time off to secure daycare or secure whoever. Maybe it's a parent that's going to come move in, and you need to get them situated so that they can be able to help you with this, so you're not being pulled away from work. And I think that is really good, because then they understand, oh, okay, this is not going to be a problem.
Exactly.
But
I think that's
also,
the key. It's
yeah.
like, yeah, I have this new family responsibility, but I have some things set up so that
Hmm.
this will not interfere with my
Absolutely.
career. And
Absolutely.
so and most people are gonna totally sympathize and understand because they've probably been there too, so they get it,
Absolutely.
you
Yeah.
know. So just again, be confident, trust in what you bring to the table. Okay, body
Mhm.
language. This is an interesting one. So,
Mm.
is there a body language trick in the interview that instantly makes someone look more confident in an interview? What do you think?
Well, absolutely. I would say good posture is always great. It
Mhm.
signals to the person looking at you that you are confident. So that's the same thing with how you walk and how you sit. Are you slouched down? Because if you're slouching and things, it may look like you don't really care, about this. So they're like, okay, if you don't care, why should we? Why should this keep going with this
I
process?
mean, it's nonverbal communication, right?
Absolutely.
So, are you
Nonverbal
communicating that
communication.
you're alert and that you care because they need to know that this position is something that you actually want? And so, your body and your communication needs to
Absolutely.
also communicate that to them in the end.
Yes. Yes, 80% of communication is nonverbal. So we know that. Be mindful of that, and so that you're able to express, maybe without, even when you're not speaking, that I am the best fit for this position. I will be a great, addition to this company. But a lot of the things that we're looking at is really going to be your professionalism, as well as the way that you dress, your attire, and hygiene. We Hygiene is a big one, but that professionalism. I had a candidate curse in the interview, so come on. We need to maintain professionalism. So that's very important to us because that's going to send a red flag, that lack of professionalism and hygiene in the way that you're dressing.
I just thought of a really good one for you. So, at the end of an interview, they always ask you, do you have any questions for us? Now,
Absolutely.
is it a good idea to always have questions to ask? Does
Absolutely.
that help you in the interview? Does it make you look more interested and eager
Yes.
for the position versus
Mhm.
not asking anything at all? What's your take on that?
Absolutely. Having questions prepared shows that you're prepared. You're taking this serious. You
Mhm.
want this job. So you have done a little bit of your research, and beyond the research that you've done, you want to know specific questions because you're interested. You want to take this job, but you want to make sure that it's going to be a good fit for you. So you're inquiring. Also, it shows a lot of confidence, as well. Oh, some people say, oh, kind of bold, that lets them know that you mean business, and that in when you're there in this role, you're going to take initiative, which is very important, to make sure that you have all the information that you need. We want to make sure that we are approaching this, that we're both seeing if we're a good fit for this opportunity.
Yeah, and I also think it's the last opportunity to leave a lasting impression. So if you
Absolutely.
have a really good question, maybe it's a little
Hmm.
unique, not
Hmm.
the old standard one that people typically ask, they're going to remember you more and you have to set yourself apart.
Say too, that's an opportunity to highlight yourself, certain things that maybe didn't come up in the interview process. Maybe they didn't ask you certain questions that was an opportunity to make you look good. So you can say, oh, well, I researched on the company website, this and that, and I've went on Glassdoor to look up a couple of things, and I learned that XYZ. But I have a question in regards to that. Boom. That's showing you took an interest, you really researched the company. Another is, asking a question about what do you look for? This one gets them. What is it that you are looking for in the first 90 days to see that you've picked a good, candidate, right? Or what are you looking for in that first 90 days. Something like that. I can't think of it. I've been out the game for a while as far as looking for a job. But when you do that, then they understand, oh, okay, you are ready to take on these responsibilities. You want to be an asset. You want to be here and you want to make sure that you can do the job. And if you are not at that point, you can be preparing along the way. And they love that. Oh, a successful hire. What do you look for in the first 90 days to see that it's a successful, this was a successful hire? And a lot of times they're going to say, are you fast paced? Are you able to, hit the ground running? Do we have to teach you these things? Are you a quick learner? All of that. And then if you know this, then you can, that's time to express, oh, I'm a quick learner, blah, 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 plug yourself.
Awesome. Love that. Love that.